What are comets? Are they way more than a ball of ice and dust and rock? We'll dive into this aspect because I've been pulled into that recently and want to share my seeing in this. And many of you have also felt recently this message that has been pouring in, this activation around the Wayshowers and pioneers of this new era of enlightenment with the message. This message has been of Pendragon, an activation of the unfolding Christ or crystalline consciousness, which is all about unity. So let's dive in. Birthing into a new model of being. It's not really new per se. This is what the word paradigm means. For many of us, Wayshowers, Pioneer, the Starseed, there's many names. We're here to lead by being the change, leading in the change by being the change. I love this word pioneer because it's stepping into roles or missions, activating in our own unique, beautiful ways, led, though, by an overarching strategy of building anew. That is truly the defining aspect of a pioneer, isn't it? Building anew, building new paths, or remembering paths in building anew. And this is a rebirthing. This is leading through inner knowings and rememberings that we're having. This is what is helping birth these drastic changes that is really about evolution for life here as we know it. As we are not saving, we are not fixing, we are absolutely building anew outside of what has been. That's a stark difference in having these inner knowings and this ability to hold in that building anew versus those that think that we're waiting for some savior to come, or saviors, which are false narratives. So let's dive into this first aspect, which is to talk more deeply about these wonderful messengers, comets. I'd like to go over consciousness first, though, because it's connected. So consciousness, we could say, is a frequency that sends or creates specific vibrations. And all of the energy that surrounds us and is in us in organic living creation is this conscious energy. And so it's a conscious energy, meaning aware. When we activate and grow our consciousness to unfold within the Trinity consciousness construct, of which is this natural form of universal creation. This is the threefold aspect, the Trinity aspect that is held within many primordial truths that were spoken. What we're really connecting to then is this aware conscious energy, this living liquid crystal construct that can innately bond with the purest of pure divine love of the organic and original God source. And when that happens, it's allowing us to co-create with this universal light field or consciousness, and that is the organic creation system. So when we dig into quantum aspects a little bit, the universe is composed of waves of light, or we could even say of consciousness. And at the subatomic level, as it's been called, it's composed of what has been coined adamantine particles, though there are other names for that too. These adamantine particles are known as submatter particles and are the basis of all forms of matter. When you look up what adamantine means, it's defined as resembling the diamond in hardness or luster. Isn't that interesting? We could say the formations of all life in the form of matter are living liquid crystalline diamonds. That is the truth of the core elements, just like the Earth's core, just like us meaning all of living creation that is organic and of this purest form. This, of course, includes humanity of this diamond crystalline structure. That is the divine blueprint. We are among the magnificent creations equipped with these adamantine particles. The science of quantum physics calls adamantine particles instead Higgs bosons. But that is named after some guy that supposedly discovered this. Fundamental particles that are a key of the basic building blocks of all matter and forces of matter. So when we're connected in our living liquid diamond crystalline core, which we connect into our sacred heart, it provides our consciousness the ability to see these vast differences between this artificial construct, the false intelligence, versus the organic and original intelligence, the organic creation codes that are literally made of the vibration of pure love. This pure love is held within the force within and of the adamantine particles. It's the direct connection to God's source, organic, the original, the primeval, however you would like to say that, the organic, non-false, non-artificial. And these comets, getting back to that, is a perfect example of this intelligent energy. They're not ice balls of rock and gas. There are tons of resources that state there's so much more. You can go into ancient wisdom and explore. This is the foundational aspect of reading energy in ancient texts, because this brings back some inner knowing and unlocks codes of wisdom. There are hieroglyphs even in ancient Egypt, I say ancient Comet, that show comets perceived as omens or signals of some kind of a significant transformation, both on personal and global levels. Ancient Chinese cosmologists referred to comets as these things called broom stars, which I'm sure in translation it loses so much, but that's a concept, broom stars, and associated with comets as being an idea of sweeping away old things, sweeping away bad luck or negative things. And these astronomical observations were very meticulously documented in these ancient ways. Within the Bible, there are hidden truths within that construct that talk about comets carrying divine messages. Within the Hopi and Lakota tribes, comets played a role in their creation myths and were seen as celestial travelers that carried wisdom from other realms. These are stories and elements that are passed down through generations, describing comets as very powerful symbols of transformation and renewal, not omens of bad things. See, this is where you can start to see the infiltration of these vile, negative forces that twist, distort, and lie. In this channel, this is what this is about, getting back into these organic and original constructs, the true awakening magic. When we get into the creation processes, and of course this is a much longer video, what we see weaved into everything is this masculine essence of creator generating seeds of new creation from thought forms, if we will, resulting in this divine blueprint of creation. The blueprint is embraced by this feminine essence and energy, this mother, original, organic goddess energy of womb that initiates this magnificent process and brings forth those creations. So where this magnificent creation comes from is what I see and have many visions of dreamtime and in meditation of God worlds, right? Core realms, core creator worlds. Therefore, that's what I see the comet coming from, serving as a messenger from that core. We could say a light wave of consciousness that's carrying a message from the primeval system and carries activation codes, we could say, or vibrations of specific frequencies that are being released or activated in very purposeful ways. And the branches of what we call science today in this world has humans, of course, believe otherwise, that comets are just a ball of gas rock. That is like saying a human is just a bag of skin and bones. Wow. So not true. Clearly very far from the truth. It's creating a huge misunderstanding, and it is misinformation, absolutely. So, as always, we have to really get into these core things, moving through the false, moving through the mainstream narratives, where we can know the truths again. Whenever you see a new comet coming through, if you feel into these energies and you feel these comets coming in, these are beautiful beings to tap into. Comets being a harbinger, which is just an awesome word, I think, of powerful insights and frequencies. And related to this evolutionary consciousness, regaining our organic and original architecture, advancing evolution versus the continuous de-evolution that we've seen taking place for too many thousands of years. A comet is this signal that's marking some key events or some sort of big transformational change that is true for the collective as well as us individually. This image that I'm sharing right now, this isn't an image of this most recent comet, but I just thought this was really amazing that you might want to see this too. It's a comet. It was called Comet 67P. It was from the 7th of July in 2015. I think this image is pretty fantastic. You can dive into the resource that I have linked below for yourself. I'll say that this looks like a messenger, doesn't it? Horse? Maybe even an essence of a dragon being is what I really feel into. So dragon was calling to me in a very big way. And I just thought this is fascinating. So if we look at comets as such, meaning a messenger, you can imagine that the light-giving frequencies that these messengers are unpacking is activating, is igniting codes, is bringing insights into the planetary construct, into planetary beings, into star beings, celestial beings. So it is a being that is going around and is sent on a mission. It's not a rock. It's just like saying megaliths are rocks, not a thing. If you're here in this channel, we know that this is obviously not true. But these comments are just one more example of an intelligent energy. Now let's talk about this most recent comet. So I did just do a video called Solar Alchemy, Cosmic Activations, and Spiritual Transformations, and the Divine Comet Messenger. And I mentioned this in the video that has some larger things that are happening, more of an energy update. I want to dive much deeper into this specific comet and the message because it keeps unfurling and has some powerful wisdom that many of us pioneers and wayshowers can utilize to reframe how we're seeing things unfold right now. The recent comet was called Swan, C2025. So let's just say Swan. An astronomer named Mike Olison, and he was actually following this comet, like, and posting all kinds of pictures. And he's a guy that has been following these comets since '94. So he has some really great insights. And what he said about this most recent comet was really interesting because the comet had a major eruption. And what he said is that it increased its brightness from a factor of 4 to a magnitude of 8.4, getting this magnificent glow and light energy to it. What my knowing and seeing shows is that this eruption was a powerful light field that was unleashed, or my favorite word is unfurled. I love that word. Unfurled. And as I mentioned before, a light field, in a sense, is consciousness, right? And that burst from this messenger is really about the activation. And the color of the comet also has something to do with messages or what it's activating. That's another thing that we can feel into. This was a green-tailed comet. This emerald green ray carries a very powerful energy of rebirth, connected to our heart, our sacred hearts, the heart behind the heart, the 8th stargate. This is also called chakras. I say stargates. And it's a stargate that we're all birthing into, divine love through our sacred heart. So what is this message? This message is multi-layered, but the comet, from the way that I have tapped into this, from my lens of seeing and knowing, as I say, it brings really a divine message, a breath of unity. And this aspect of unity is connected into the intelligent light field of Christ. This is said Christos, or crystal, and spelled with the C or spelled with the K, but it's about unity, Christ consciousness. And so this aspect of the coming of Christ, which is done around many religions, has always been about this power of coming under this vibration of unity, this intelligent field of consciousness of unification under the infinite and original and organic creation powers that be. These original and organic creation powers in ancient times, this was a comprehensive knowing that this is like this nameless one, but it is felt. It is not said, it is felt. That is this vibration of God's source. However you would like to say this, but it is a vibration from a nameless, primeval source of intelligence that is felt through divine love. And so if we go by feeling rather than knowing, that is when we tap into the organic and original sources of this harmonic energy. Labels don't matter, feelings matter. This is how we get into the purity of something, and discernment is always felt rather than needing to be perfected and putting these labels on things. So this Christic consciousness is pure unity, both within our own fields when we're connected, as much as within a collective field. This unification, this crystal, liquid, living light, intelligence of unity is a direct divergence away from the horrid control and separation falsity that has been in this realm for tens of thousands of years now. This is Christ versus Antichrist, unity versus anti-unity. It is that simple, and it's been a very long time frame to allow the organic to slowly move back into alignment with original intention. I'll get into this original intention some other time because that is also a deep layer. Christic, or even this Buddhic activation, Buddhic is also what this activation has been called, is an activation that happens in the light field of our own consciousness, but it's also in a collective consciousness, planetary consciousness way as well. It's a reclamation of pure and organic versus the synthetic and false, and what that has done to all things. We very much can see that. This divine messenger really brings solace for many of us. This is for you to feel into for yourself. The intention of me sharing is to provide empowerment during these hugely shifting and challenging times. When you're a wayshower, when you're that pioneer, when you're a starseed wanderer, when you have all these realms and other timelines in your inner knowing, when we're workers of light, messengers to bring unity back. And when you feel it and when you know it without any doubt whatsoever in your being that you came here to assist in some way, whatever that way is in this great shift. And as more light fields of consciousness unfolds, this provides more of what we need to do. It allows us to do more of what we came here to do. And despite the circus shows that we see happening in political games, the warring, etc., digging into these truths helps us hold the visions, knowing that you are being more and more protected and assisted in these ways from celestial beings. This is a powerful knowing as well. This comet is a harbinger of wisdom. Coming from the core realms of Andromeda, activating star beings within Andromeda. I talk about that pathway in that other video that I mentioned if you want to check that out. Came and weaved into our system and then delivered its vibrations as it went near and then dissolved into the solar portal, our sun. Igniting the rememberings of Pendragon, King Arthur, and Queen Guinevere timeline. Dragon is just pouring into my being. I get chills even saying the word. So dragon, the power of the vital life force of all things within us. And this genuine dragon conscious light field is what we're really talking about. It's not reptilian dragons. These are primeval, conscious, energetic forces within realms, but are also creation forces. It's when we dive deep into the roots of words, ancient meanings. I like the word primordial because I feel like moves past the distortions, the time of distortions, and that's where we can find so many truths. For example, the word dragon means light and force. Dragon comes from Old High German, meaning light and clear, from ancient Albanian, meaning light, many others. And in Chinese, dragon represents power, force, symbol of cosmic authority associated with elements, water, rain, and other elemental energies, which are the forces of nature. In Chinese cosmology, for example, places dragon at the heart of cosmic balance, and that is truth. Each of the four cardinal directions in Chinese scripture and such is said to be guarded by a specific dragon, each representing a distinct element and a season as attached to that said element. The presence of these dragons in the cosmos ensures that everything is working smoothly. It's an energy of balancing and harmony in the natural world. And when you're working in ancient practices like Qigong and Tai Chi, for example, the presence of dragon is there. And it's what assists to bring that life force into our bodies, to work with the elementals at one time, working with harmonic energies both around us and within us. So this isn't made of stuff. This was written into the codes of many of the primordial healing practices as well. It's just in different cultures, it's been called something different and has slightly different wrappers. So like I discussed, the energy that we're talking about here isn't just a source of some kind of power, like a battery, for example, something lifeless that provides power. It's an intelligent source that is conscious. So our divine spirit, our soul, the cosmic self, that has all been called many things. This concept of a monadic spiritual body, you've heard the name monad, a soul, represented in many different philosophical and religious traditions as well. But in Greek, for example, the monad represents a supreme unitary being from which all existence emanates, which has also been mentioned in many ancient Gnostic texts, seen, etc. This intelligence with an organic living creation has this unique energetic signature that is expressed from source. And these signatures have specific spectrums of frequency that are arranged into a particular form. And just because that form is not something that we recognize, that doesn't mean that it's not conscious and that it's not intelligent energy. This is why the dragon can be looked at as this intelligent energy source as well. So it's just another example of this. Now let's get back into this fact. So dragon is coming through very much. This dragon essence is extremely important for this message, and the word Pendragon, which we'll get to in a moment. But let's look at this fact that this comet was named Swan. That was not intentionally called Swan because of some holy divine message coming in by those that named this. However, let's think about this for a minute. So when parents names their child, where does that name come from? Often, many times a parent will say, I don't know, the name just came to me. That's what I felt happened with this comet. It's the same thing. They've had some mechanical reason as to why, but I feel it carries the same breath as to what the truth of this is, because what I see unfolded in this swan. Now, the symbolism of a holy white swan takes us a couple different directions where I have felt into this, and this is very powerfully connected into Pendragon, King Arthur, and Queen Guinevere. In ancient texts from Asia, white swan also represents the sound tone in Sanskrit of the word Om, which is the symbol for the entire process of creation in the cosmos. So in many Asian cultures, the white swan really holds this prominent position as a symbol of purity, of grace, of divinity, frequently associated with the divine, and often seen the swan as a messenger between the earthly and spiritual realms. And the white swan is linked to wisdom of enlightenment. When you look at Buddhist traditions, the white swan represents the enlightened mind. So the holy white swan is also connecting into this original goddess consciousness. We can connect this directly into Queen Guinevere. So it's in the name itself where magic is held quite often. This is a beautiful book, by the way, done by Caitlin Matthews. The name Guinevere, though said differently in Welsh, translates to white spirit or ethereal white spirit. So there is this goddess aspect. And she was always mentioned as this beautiful ethereal figure. So this is connected into purity, the holy white swan. And this is a lineage of white queens. And this white meaning purity. That's what the white aspect in this context means. Pure. This is of the cosmic mother lineage. White queens are of the cosmic mother lineage. And it's a truth about holding this original DNA language sets within sounds and tones that are all assisting to reset this planetary architectural patterning. We're talking about here a beautiful white or diamond sun core. And this also connects into Tiamat, the mother of dragons. We'll get into that another time. But think of this like the aspects that we talked about before, which is a white diamond crystalline core, a white sun, a pure sun energy. And this is another aspect of the very planetary architecture of the Christos frequencies that are being activated, connecting back into this true essence of what Queen Guinevere really stood for. Now, Queen Guinevere and King Arthur were both actual humans. But again, we're talking about archetypal representations that humans held the divine titles of queen or king, which had nothing to do with the false tyranny structure that we see today. The falsities of these kings that we have seen are the evil versions of what was never supposed to be. And so that is what the energy and the holy white swan, the holy white queen or original goddess consciousness of Queen Guinevere actually stands for. Unleashing these codes once again into the planetary patterning of original and organic architecture. Now, Pendragon, this is another absolutely glorious aspect to get into. And as many of you will know if you've listened to videos before, King Arthur and Queen Guinevere timeline, it's been weaved into my code. So Arthurian truths around this, Uther Pendragon was Arthur's father. So in Old Welsh, Uther, U-T-H-R, originally meant admirable or marvelous. This is where all this stuff can get so crazy. When you look deep enough, what you can find, this word, U-T-H-R, in Old Welsh meant admirable and marvelous, was literally changed by the evil ones wanting to hide the truth into meaning the exact opposite, meaning cruel and terrible. This is why it is just so imperative for us to dig into these truths rather than being taken into the wrong direction. So Uther Pendragon means the marvelous head dragon under a banner of oneness, of unity of the sun. When we delve further into this dragon meaning and this aspect of Pendragon, by the way, I mentioned this poem quite a few times in this channel, The Magick of Merlin. I get into that a little more if you'd like to take a look at that. When we get into this concept of head dragons or these head dragon beings that are cosmic in nature, head meaning like the ultimate, the top, we could say, these are solar dragons. Now, solar dragons are hidden in ancient texts. And of course, they're also hidden in gaming, like virtual games. All of these truths are hidden in many places. An ancient Chinese text called to me to show me solar dragons are very much weaved into many primordial texts and manuscripts and poetry. Classic of mountains and seas is what that text translates to, although I'm sure it's something much more grand, really. But it mentions solar dragon, Shulang. And Shu means illuminating or shining. So there we go, connecting into sun, the solar force. Shulang is said to be one that created day and night by opening and closing its eyes. And so while many of these things are thought of as just these myths or legends that actually aren't real, oh no, they're holding the truth within them. This would be one instance because here we have a solar dragon that is actually helping or assisting in creating architecture of what night and day means by literally controlling that with its being, because it is a creation dragon. And so these solar dragons are held within the organic and original God world. So we can't see dragons again as these horrid, evil enemies, but rather they're primordial guardians and founders of lineages and creating architecture from which organic and original humans were created. And of course, organic and original meaning of God's source. So created in God's source image. And so in ancient esoteric knowledge, always known that dragons are energy signatures of the divine human form. And in the creation of creating realms, this is such a key to this knowing and this unlocking of Pendragon and originating into solar dragon, cosmic solar dragon lineage, is meant to signify a bloodline here on Earth of the true and real guardians connected into the bloodline of King Arthur. That is the solar dragon lineage, a holy father lineage, we could say, Queen Guinevere of the mother of dragons, the holy mother lineage. These were teachings. When you dive into the King Arthur and Queen Guinevere true teachings, we begin to get into these core truths about solar dragons and what dragon really means. These were teachings about the Fae bloodline. It's a Grail bloodline holding codes of the original templates of humanity, this diamond sun template, which is pure and organic. King Arthur and Queen Guinevere were real humans, and these were all teachings that were held within the Celtic Church. And these teachings had to be taken in underground because the evil factions wanted it burned. They wanted anybody who held these codes to be completely wiped off this planet. What we're really talking about here is unity code source architecture. There is so much I can go on, and I will in other videos, but when we tap into the true timeline of King Arthur and Queen Guinevere, what the lineages represented, and what many of us are here carrying forward lineages in this way, we're really looking at connecting into Christ Consciousness light field, which is unity. This is pure love, and it is of the perfect union in the divine love of what we have called the Holy Father, masculine, and Holy Mother, feminine conscious energies. I would love for you to openly share, what have you felt recently? Have you felt the realignment of more and more of this architecture around King Arthur and Queen Guinevere? I would love for you to share your profound insights that you've gleaned here below. I hope that this video has helped you to celebrate more of your divine spirit within and helps us together remember the true magic that is awakening, rising, and that we are being assisted in these powerful, beautiful ways to keep us more aligned and protected in the missions that we're each uniquely carrying. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe. And if you liked this content, if you could please share with other souls who vibrate on the same level, that would be lovely. I would love to grow my channel. And thanks again for watching.